If you're buying your shoes from somewhere else, it doesn't have that arch support, the heel cup, things like that. How often should you replace that immediately?
High heels, 3 inches, 4 inches, we don't recommend that at all.
Going to a shop to buy something, that's so 2010, isn't it? Like, who's doing that these days?
We don't do flip-flops that don't have arch support. We don't do shoes that really don't have that level of comfort in them.
Welcome to the Comfort Walk and Talk, where every step towards comfort is a step towards a healthier you.
We're your hosts, Ash,
Jeff,
And Ben.
together let's walk the talk, transforming your lives from the ground up.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Comfort Walk and Talk. My name is Ash.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Jeff.
And today we're taking your questions. We've asked all of our social media followers what are some of the most frequently asked questions that you would like us to answer on your behalf, and here they are. So let's get stuck into it. Our first question comes from @Starry327. They say, do your socks have extra padding for high impact activities like running, and how well do they handle moisture? Jeff?
Yeah, look, the OS First brand has built its sock brand around having a lot of different features of the sock built in. One of them is always excellent cushioning in the forefoot and the heel part of it. Some of the socks have cushioning all over, and some of the socks have just cushioning on the underneath, but it's all built with that extra bit of cushioning, but not too thick that it squeezes your foot up into a tight shoe either. So it's a really good balance. But yeah, the answer is yes.
Do we get a lot of questions for socks and things like that? Because it's very user friendly. Everybody wears socks. So, do we
One
get
of the
that
most
question?
common questions we get is, why is your sock $30?
Right.
I can go to Kmart and get,
Yeah.
or not, any big shop. And the reality is there's a hang of a lot of technology built into the socks. And we could go through it in another story, but basically the sock has incredible value.
So we actually had Dave Higgins on as a guest a couple of weeks ago, and he went into detail about all of this. It's the science and technology behind every single OS First sock is unbelievable. They've gone through doctors, they're FDA regulated, they're padding where you need it. Socks with purpose it is, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's
And it's built in little compression tightness just around different areas to just alleviate pain. Like, for example, it has in all the socks an arch support built into it. It's
incredible
amazing.
to have
A
that
sock
from a
and arch
sock.
support. You wouldn't think
Yeah,
it, but
wow.
it pulls up the arch.
Interesting. Our next question comes from @RainbowBaker41. They say, what is your return policy if I buy shoes online and that they don't fit correctly? So what would we say?
So all of our websites have an unbelievable return policy. No questions asked if you're going to do that. Refunds, exchanges, things like that. So you do get a lot of people that are very hesitant to be buying their shoes online, and that makes a lot of sense. I guess it's one of those things that you do kind of like to feel on your foot. But honestly, once you've done it for the first time, you won't go back. You're going to a shop to buy something, that's so 2010, isn't it? Like, who's doing that these days? So, if you do get the shoe, it doesn't fit quite right, these things are going to happen. Our customer service team we're really proud of it over here. They'll sort you out, no problem. You get your return slip. So all you have to do is go to the post office, you'll get your money back or a refund or exchange.
Yeah, and within you have 30 days.
30
days to do it.
30 days. And the other point to it is that our average return rate is around about 10%. It means 1 in 10 shoes, the customer's largely not finding the right size. That's a very, very good rate.
What's the average rate, Jeff?
Look, there's plenty of websites that are talking 30 and 40%.
Oh, wow.
But let's just say an average is 20%. We are significantly lower than that because our sizing information's pretty accurate on the website.
And we have features built in to get it right the first time as well. So it's right fit, isn't it? Where you measure
Size
your
right.
size right. Sorry about that. You measure your foot as compared to a credit card, something's a credit card size, and it analyzes your foot there and then, saves to your profile, and you'll always know that right size shoe when you buy it.
Technology is incredible.
It
It's
really
come so
is.
far.
Yeah, wowee. What an age do we live in, hey? What a time to be alive.
Let's do our next question. It comes from @YogaEnthusiast922. They say, how often should I replace the insoles of my athletic shoes, and what signs should I look for that indicate it's time for a replacement?
Okay. I would say that an athletic shoe for a start, a running shoe, if you're running it all the time, honestly, you'd expect to replace that shoe 6 to 9 months. in terms of if you're walking, less Ks, but walking on an average lifestyle, then your shoe's going to last a lot longer. But I would still say that the insole could do with a replacement every 6 months. If you really want to keep a really true to ride, that's what we always recommend. You can still, it's not going to be a bad thing if you keep wearing it after 6 months, but 6 months just gives you that level of comfort, edge. And there's nothing like a new insole in your shoe. There's nothing like a new insole.
Can you tell us a bit more about insoles for those that basically just kind of get the insole in the shoe that they buy it in?
Yeah.
Why should they continue to update the new insole, and why is it important to people that know nothing about it?
Okay. Why are insoles important for your shoes? And we live and breathe by that. Basically, we very much position the insole as a key footprint. It's a footprint in your shoe. So we typically build in some level of arch support, and we build in some level of cushioning. So those two elements work together in our insoles to provide a really extreme comfort. Walking, running, every day, that's what the comfort formula is. So when you talk about replacement of insoles, we typically say, yeah, you can keep wearing an insole out, 12 months, etc. But we really would like you to experience the comfort every 6 months is what we sort of recommend. You should be replacing your insole every 6 months. Think about your car. How often do you replace the tyres? I mean, I know the performance tyres, you'd be running through them if you're doing reasonable Ks every sort of 12 months. Well, so you have a certain regime where you're replacing the car tyre. It's a little bit like the insole.
And do we have insoles that people can buy?
We have
individually?
for all of our shoes. We generally have insole replacements for the footwear. Easily too. Often it's very easy. It's it's very easy to size up. A medium might fit 2 sizes. You trim a little bit at the front, but we have replacements for all the shoes.
I'm just going to go ahead and follow on from that one. Just under the assumption that not everyone will be buying their shoes from the Comfort Code just yet. We'll get you, don't you worry. So if you're buying your shoes from somewhere else, it doesn't have that arch support, the heel cup, things like that we're talking about on this podcast about being so important. How often should you replace that sole, the footbed? Immediately. Pull it out straight away. Get yourself a Vita sole insole, which will have that arch support, which will have all the support features, cushioning where you need it, things that are so important for your foot health. It's the easiest thing you can do for your foot. And honestly, you should be doing that straight away.
And what about sandals that are, our Revere range? Is it possible that people can replace the insoles in sandals? Not necessarily when we're talking about, shoes like this. This is the Vita Sole Walker. It's easy to replace the insole in a shoe that has laces and that's, encompassed like that. How do people go about replacing insoles for sandals?
Okay, another good question. You're talking about basically replace sandals that can have a replacement insole. Sandals with a removable insole. For a start, that's a very, very small percentage of sandals that are sold on the market. Probably less than 5% of sandals have a removable insole. You mentioned Revere brand. We developed the Revere brand solely around that concept. And we developed it with the view that you could take the insole out, which had a beautiful comfort arch contour and cushioning, but you could replace it either with a customized insole from the podiatrist or a replacement Revere insole after 6 months, 12 months of use. So that's predominantly built around that. And again, it's all about providing that comfort in terms of footbed and all that to the customer.
And it's allowed people to wear sandals again. So on a place like the Gold Coast, that's so important. I can't imagine going through a Gold Coast summer without wearing my flip-flops. It would just be terrible. So it's something great that we can provide for our customers there.
Let's go on to our next question. So we have a question from @TechGuruSam. They say, as someone with foot pain, I'm always on the lookout for comfortable shoes. What is the latest in technology or materials to create shoes that provide extra cushioning for people like me?
Okay, well, we live and breathe by having a level of comfort cushioning for a start in the heel and the forefoot. And, there are technologies that say you might need a little bit more cushioning in the front or the back, but generally in all of our footwear, we provide a good balance between too hard and too soft. It's important to have that level of comfort. We really firmly believe that you should be able to put your foot into a shoe and immediately feel that wow factor. Because at the end of the day, you're going to live in your shoe for a long time with your sandal or whatever. So that's So in terms of technology, we're typically using really soft materials that tend to have a rebound. So they go down and then they come back up so they almost got your natural footprint and then they come back up. Because if you use materials that go down to your footprint, they just tend to, what they say, bottom out, which means that they eventually lose all their cushioning. So we're typically using materials that have a good rebound. So, that's really what our mix is. And obviously, as I say, everything we do, we build that level of arch support into the product as well.
Right. And how is that changing in the future? Like, do you have any idea about how the technology is going to continue to grow so that the arch support and the cushioning continues to improve? Or do you think that it's, pretty stable and great as it is?
Look, I think at the moment it's one size fits all. Typically we make shoes and that's our arch support, that's our cushioning. And I think over time there'll probably be more personalisation. I mean, we are seeing scanners and that come in that look at 3D foot scan and pressure. So over time there'll be options where you can have maybe a harder back and a softer front, or a higher arch or a mid arch. There'll be customisation options in terms of footwear. But at the moment I think we're covering a lot of the needs of the marketplace by having just a really good combination.
Right. Our next question comes from sun_days. I have wide feet and struggle to find comfortable sandals. Do your sandals come in different widths, and how do I determine if it's the right size for me?
So typically we make sandals in a broad fit. So typically most of our sandals are always a broad fit to start with, because, a sandal should have a nice, broad, coverage underneath and all that. So typically it's always going to start in a good size. But what we've done, particularly with the Revere brand, is that we have made it so that we do carry 2 widths of that, which is the size of the volume in the upper, but we also add strap adjustments to it. So we can increase the width of maybe a medium with a strap adjustment and make it a wide fit. So we do that as well. So that brand not only has that removable aspect we talked about earlier, but also has this amazing fit capability with the sandals particularly, but also with all of our footwear. So the answer is yes. And, we do concentrate in a lot of brands on carrying 2 widths as well in terms of footwear, because it's important. I mean, statistically, we see that medium would be probably around about 60%. And then wide would be about 30%. But in Australia, it's actually even a little bit wider than that. And Singapore is mostly wide. So, you have to have 2 widths there. So
I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah.
There you go. So in a nutshell, we have a shoe for every foot.
That's the key. You try. At least you try and get them the most of the population.
Do you think that's changing too? Because I remember the days where it would basically be that you went to a brand specifically because that was a wide shoe. Like, back in the day, New Balance was the wide version of a sneaker. And then if you had narrow feet, you go to a different brand. Do you think that that's changing, and that now every brand is they're looking for the adjustability and trying to service a bigger demographic of people versus, just that niche audience?
Yeah, fit's important. I mean, that's what's changing it, definitely. I mean, I do remember when I would buy men's shoes at the department store, and pretty much they'd always be tight on me, because generally they carry 1 width. But that's changing. I think the whole market's changing. Fit's very important. It's probably one of the key focuses in terms of comfort.
Yeah, beyond look, fashion.
Yeah. Someone with a wide foot myself, I'm welcome to change. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's take our next question. It comes from @PeachyPenguin. What a name. I love wearing flip-flops, but often find they lack arch support. Do your flip-flops have any features to provide better arch support, and how durable they are?
So every flip-flop in our range comes with absolutely incredible arch support. One that I've been getting around recently, and you'll be hard-pressed to get me to shut up about this one, is our Vitasol Vitality over there. I have been wearing these all summer. Let's go. Catch for our listeners, those not on YouTube, that was a flawless catch. Absolutely unbelievable. Get me in the slips. Bloody brilliant. But yeah, comes with your arch support right there built in. This is EVA foam as well, so it has that durability, that bounce back that we were talking about before. You put it on, it is so comfortable. I've got these Vionics here. I kind of wish I was wearing the Vitalities here. I never want to take them off. So to answer your question, get a pair of these. Get a pair of these. Trust me.
And watch out for the slide coming this summer.
Oh,
The slide's
there
gonna
you
be
go.
so cool.
We're telling people about that now. I thought that was all
Absolutely. 3
hush hush.
months
There
out.
you go.
Start putting your orders in.
Soft launch.
Yeah, the slide's coming, guys. We know that you love them, but with your adjustable straps there as
Yeah,
well. the whole-
adjustable strap covering woods and all that.
and that's going to be that same base.
Absolutely.
I'll take 10.
And the base,
Unbelievable.
just to support, the base looks wide, and it is wide, but it's so, and we have some people put their foot in it, it hugs their foot. They can walk, they can do the 10,000 steps. We talked about this previously, but it's an addictive sort of comfort, that product.
I suppose too in Australia, we live in flip-flops.
Yeah.
In the summertime, especially here in Queensland, it's literally all you wear every single day. So if you don't have that arch support, you notice it by the end of summer.
Yeah.
don't you? Do we have any other brands that have arch support, or is the Vitality the main?
As Ben said, we don't do flip-flops that don't have arch support.
Right.
We don't do shoes that really don't have that level of comfort in them. So, we currently have 4 brands that provide flip-flops, and they all have arch support. And what I say is they have different levels of arch support or different levels of cushioning. And there's no right answer. It's about the comfort and also the look. So some brands are a little bit slimmer than our lovely Vitality, and some brands are a little bit thicker. Some have a higher arch, some have a lower arch. So it's about the customer preference. But we would have the widest range of arch support sandals in the market, without doubt, across all of our brands.
Hell yeah.
And how do they look for that? How does the consumer, if they know what they want and they know that they want arch support, how do they know whether they should go to the Vionic website or the Vitasol website? What is it that they should be looking for when it comes to how we explain it online?
Go to the Comfort Co website.
Go to the Comfort Co. You're right, man.
Yeah, I
See
think
them
that's
all,
right. I mean,
yeah.
a bit of a background. I mean, we run obviously websites for all of our brands, but we bring it all together in the Comfort Co. So if you know Vionic, you go to the Vionic website, or you can go to the Comfort Co. But if you want to see the whole range, all the different styles under all the different brands, go to Comfort Co. Type in flip flop or search for flip flop, and it'll show you all the different models, different colours. Beautiful.
Yeah. Because just to extend on that, I mean, we do get a lot of customers, especially for brands like Vionic, that once they've tried a Vionic shoe, they're not having any other shoe in their closet. So it's just a testament to that arch support and what we provide and the benefit that we provide for customers. But you have people with really bad cases, really bad foot issues that will put on a pair of these shoes, and it just changes their lives altogether. So something we can be really proud of here.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that is the new normal? Like, do you think that when it comes to arch support in sandals and shoes, that's going to become, base level?
I think so. I mean, look, there's still, no, don't get me wrong. There's brands, there's the flat sort of brand, flip-flop brands that are very popular and they sell a lot. But, the successor brands like, Birkenstock and all that, there's just so much going on in that space. Fashion, sports.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming addictive, that level of arch support.
That's it. And why wouldn't you? At the end of the day, we've got the stats, we've got the facts, we've got the data, we got everything behind just the benefits that this kind of technology can have in your life. And once you've experienced it, you're not going back. Like I was saying before, with that with the arch support insole, if I buy another pair of shoes, that's my first step. I'm not going to be wearing a pair of shoes without arch support because I'll feel it. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not about that life anymore.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm living comfortable, mate.
Yeah, now you're a dad. It's like, yeah.
That's it. I need to get my girl on my shoulders. I need that arch support, otherwise I'll be a hobbled mess.
How are you going to deal with 2 girls?
Woo! Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, mate. Bloody hell.
And let's take another question. So we have this one from @JoanDance72. They say, should heels be avoided for long-term foot health? That's an interesting one.
It is a very good question. And so we tend to say a couple of things. Firstly, the high heels, which, let's face it, I mean, anything sort of 3 inches, 4 inches, we don't recommend that at all. Now, we're not saying if you're going out to an event, it's not going to hurt you. Wear it for a couple of hours. You'll find that that's the ones walking away with their holding their heels as they walk home barefoot. But so but in terms of 2-inch heels, that's fine. we tend to build in a nice arch profile and cushioning in the front. The key thing with a heel is it's not so much about rolling in or overpronating, in a heel, because you really can't. When you're up a bit, you can't really overpronate. But what the issue is your forefoot gets a lot of pressure, because obviously higher to lower, you're putting a lot of pressure on your forefoot. So that's why we need to make sure there's cushioning or things like metatarsal or cushioning pads at the front, and then just the right level of arch to support the arch in the heel. So the answer is we don't have, there's no problems with, say, a 2-inch heel in terms of with the right sort of arch support and cushioning and built into it.
I think, yeah, like you said, the forefoot area as well. My mum just bought a new pair of heels, and she hadn't bought heels in probably 10 years now, and she was feeling it. Like she wore them for probably 3 hours, and by the end she's calling me saying, help, like I need to go. I haven't worn shoes in so long, but she really feels it. And when you take that over a whole career, a businesswoman that, is wearing heels 9 to 5 every single 5 days a week for 30, 40 years, that can have an impact. And so little things like arch support and, all of the different things that we can go, okay, we can make this look good and feel good. And over the course of, decades, it's not going to have that bad impact.
Exactly.
It's great that that's not the expectation anymore, hey?
Yeah.
It used to be, you got your woman in the office, if you're not wearing heels, like, a bit unprofessional. Don't know about that. But you don't have to. By all means, if you want to, do it. But it's, it's not the expectation. I think we've come a long way there. And either way.
It might trend back, though.
You never know.
We'll see.
We'll cater for you either way, hey?
Yeah. And when it comes to, you said, so the mid-range heel, is that something that, if you have plantar fasciitis and you have a more of a foot that is bound to overpronate, is that mid-range heel better for people with that condition?
Well, I wouldn't say it's better, but just there's a physical thing that you really can't overpronate when you're in a heel, when you got a pitch. Right. They call it a pitch, which means it's higher at the back than the front. Right. So if you've got a higher pitch, like a couple of inches, you're not going to so much overpronate. But again, you're going to put pressure on your front of your foot. Right. So it's about more forefoot. Right. Distribution of weight. That's the key thing. Interesting.
All right. Any other questions that you guys have heard from our customer service team?
This exercise is good. I would all implore, that we're continually asking customers and really going through this, because we learn a lot from the customers. Yeah. We should also be asking them, and I don't know if you've had any feedback, but what sort of style of shoes do they want? I'd love to hear more questions on that. So maybe another episode, we can actually ask, we can do a series of questions and actually ask, what would you like to see? Yeah. What colours would you like to see? Totally. What improvements would you like to see? Let's get the customers really deciding how we design our shoes.
Yeah. And so whether it's, colours, whether it's fit, whether you just have a question about, how you would like to see our shoes in the future, or whether you have a problem that you would like one of our podiatrists to answer, email us or call us at the Comfort Co, or contact us, DM us on @ComfortCo or @Comfort Walk and Talk, and we'll be sure to answer your questions. Thanks for tuning in today, or for listening, for our podcast listeners. And it's been awesome chatting with you guys.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Comfort Walk and Talk. If this episode has stepped up your foot care game, we'd love your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
And don't forget to subscribe on your favourite platform so you never miss a step on your journey to comfort.
And for more insights, follow us at our social channels at the Comfort Walk and Talk. Walk comfortably until we meet again.